लंबोदरा हे विघ्नेश्वरा, लंबोदरा हे विघ्नेश्वरा, लंबोदरा हे विघ्नेश्वरा, लंबोदरा हे विघ्नेश्वरा, शिव शंभो कुमार विघ्नेश्वर, शंभो कुमार विघ्नेश्वर, शिव शंभो कुमार विघ्नेश्वर, शिव शंभो कुमार विघ्नेश्वर, लंबोदरा हे विघ्नेश्वर, शिव शंभो कुमार विघ्नेश्वर, शिव शंभो कुमार विघ्नेश्वर, अंबिकतनया ओंकारेश्वर, ओंकारेश्वर, अंबिकतनया ओंकारेश्वर, अंबिकतनया ओंकारेश्वर, हे रंभ विघ्नेश्वरा, हे रंभ विघ्नेश्वरा, हे रंभ विघ्नेश्वरा, हे रंभ विघ्नेश्वरा, लंबोदरा हे विघ्नेश्वरा, लंबोदरा हे विघ्नेश्वरा, लंबोदरा हे विघ्नेश्वरा, लंबोदरा हे विघ्नेश्वरा, शिव शंभो कुमार विघ्नेश्वर, 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 शिव शंभो कुमार विघ्नेश्वर. Namaste and Sitaram, everyone. Thank you for being patient with us. We will be beginning our program today. Today is the 5th night of our Shri Ramayan Yagna, and it is in celebration of our 26th anniversary at this location of the Shri Ram Mandir. And we'd like to welcome some of our Panditjis here, Pandit Rupnath Sharma and also Pandit Bhuvan, who will be also officiating, I believe, tomorrow. So thank you for joining us. And we would also now ask you to rise so that we can welcome our Vyas or Vyasjis. It will be our youth group.
सभी लोग अपने स्थान में खड़े हो जाएं। ओम स्वस्ति न इंद्रो बृहस्पतिर्वाः स्वस्ति नः पूषा विश्ववेदाः स्वस्ति नस्तार्क्ष्यो अरिष्टनेमिः स्वस्ति नो बृहस्पतिर्ददातु प्रीखदस्वा मरुतः कृष्णिमातरः शुभं जावानो विदथे कुजगमय्य अग्निर्जिह्वा मनवः सूरचक्षसु विश्वेनो देवा अवशागमन्निह भद्रं कर्णेभिः शृणुयामा देवा भद्रं पश्येमाक्षविर्जयत्राः स्थिरैरङ्गे तुष्टवागुंसस्तनु विव्यसेमहि देवहितं यदायुः शतमिन्नुसरदो अन्तिदेवा जत्रा नशकरा जरसन्तनूनाम उत्तरासो यत्र पितरो भवन्ति मानो मदयारीरिखता युर्गन्तो अदितिर्द्योरदितिरन्तरिक्षमदित्रिं माता स पिता स पुत्रः विश्वे देवा अदितिः पञ्चजना ॐ गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुर्साक्षात् परब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरुवे नमः। अखण्डमण्डलाकारं व्याप्तं येन चराचरं तत्पदं दर्शितं येन तस्मै श्री गुरुवे नमः। अज्ञानां तिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्री गुरुवे नमः। गुरुदेवताभ्यो नमो नमः। माल्यादीनि सुगन्धीनि मालत्यादीनि वे प्रभो मया हृतानि पुष्पाणि पूजार्थं प्रदीयतां। चन्द्रमा मनसो जातचक्षुः सूर्यो अजायतः श्रोत्वाद्वायुष्य प्राणस्य मुखादग्निरजायत। बोले गुरु महाराज की जय। ओम असतो मा सद्गमय तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमय मृत्यो माम अमृतं गमय। ओम व्यासाय विष्णुरूपाय व्यासरूपाय विष्णवे नमो वे ब्रह्मनिधये वासिष्ठाय नमो नमः। बोले व्यास महाराज की जय। नमस्तुते व्यास विशाल बुद्धे फुल्लारविन्दायत पत्र नेत्रः येन त्वया भारत तैलपूर्णः प्रज्वालितो ज्ञानमया प्रदीपः। बोले व्यास जी महाराज की जय। ओम चंद्रमा मनसो जातचक्षुः सूर्यो अजायतः श्रोत्वाद्वायुष्य प्राणस्य मुखादग्निरजायतः। रामाय रामभद्राय रामचन्द्राय वेदसे रघुनाथाय नाथाय सीताया पतये नमः। नीलाम्बुजश्यामलकोमलांगं सीतासमारोपितवामभागं पाणो महासायकचारुचापं नमामि रामं रघुवंशनाथं।
व्यास महाराज
की जय।
आशीर्वाद पाव लगी ब्लेस। अच्छा ऊपर चलो। सभी लोग खड़े हो जाए। Everyone please remain standing for आरती। श्री राम श्री राम श्री राम। वर्णानां रथसंज्ञानां रसाणां चन्द्र Mangalanam Chakartaro Vandevani Vinayako Vandevani Vinayako Agati Shri Ramayana Ji Kirati Kali Kalalita Siya Piti Arati Shri Ramayana Ji Kirati Kali Kalalita Siya Piti Gavat Brahmadika Muni Narad Valmika Vijnana Visarad Sudha Sankhani Shesha Varisarad Hari Bhavan Sutta Kiratani Arati Shri Ramayana Ji Kirati Kali Kalalita Siya Piti Next line.
Shambhu Bhavani Arkat Shambhava Muni Vidyani Vyas Adi Kavi Varga Bhatani Kagam Sundar Garuda Keti Arati Shri Ramayana Ji Kirati Kali Kalalita Siya Piti Siya Piti Arati Shri Ramayana Ji Kirati Kali Kalalita Siya Piti
Om Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram
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 Om Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram सियापति रामचंद्र भगवान की जय सभी लोग आसन लीजिए
Namaste and Sitaram, everyone. We'd like to welcome you again. As I said earlier, today is the 5th night of our Yagna in celebration of our 26th anniversary here at Shri Ram Mandir on Export Boulevard. Tonight we have our Ram Mandir youth group to be presenting the Katha, and I will name them to you. If I miss anybody, let me know. So we have Dhruv, Rudra, Marissa, Asta, and Eon, Aryan, Jaden, sorry, where's Nathan? Okay, Jaden, and Suri, and Vedin, Rose, and Arjun, and I don't know if I'm missing anyone else. But all of these young people will be presenting today. And So the youth group is more than just a group of volunteers, it's also a family. Each of these young people grew up in the Mandir, learning from Guruji, from Pandit Rupnath Sharma, and being supported by the incredible Ram Mandir family. The values of faith, compassion, humility, and seva that were instilled in them from a young age have inspired them to stay involved and give back to the community. Their hope is to ensure that today's youth can experience the same sense of belonging and community that they were fortunate to have over the years. Together, they have prepared a pravachan that not only shares a familiar story, but also conveys a lesson that youth of every generation can relate to and carry with them in their own lives. And I'm also very glad and also happy to be here because I've had an opportunity to at least maybe teach all of them through Bal Vihar. And some of them have come to music class as well, so I'm very excited to see what they're going to be doing today, and I wish you good luck. Before you start, I just want to ask, are you comfortable sitting on the edge there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sitaram, testing. Sitaram and Namaste everyone, and good evening. Thank you all for being here, and thank you to our Guruji for giving us this amazing opportunity to read Ramayan for the Mandir's 26th birthday. Now, to put it into perspective, none of us sitting here are over 21 years old, and none of us were even a concept at the time that this Mandir was being built. And little did our parents know and little did we know that this Mandir was going to become such an integral part of our lives and become such a family and such a second home to us. We each have so much to thank for Mandir and for having the second home. For most of us, it provided our first job. For most of us, it provided all our volunteer hours for high school. It gave us a stage to share our passion for music, and it also gave us a family, and it gave us each other. So very thankful for that.
Since they work here, they all made donations also.
Today, for some of us, this is the first time we're doing something like this. I would just like to preface by saying that we prepared this without the help of AI, which might be surprising to some of you. Our pravachan is based on all the learnings and all the teachings that we have acquired by listening to Panditji growing up and listening to our families and our gurus, our parents and our teachers. When we were preparing this, we also realized how hard this actually is. And there's so much that goes into preparing a pravachan like this, the tone of your voice, what you're singing when you're singing. There's so much to think about, and it's really a skill, and we thank you, Panditji, for having that skill and being able to pass it down to us, and we hope we do justice to it today. So thank you. I will now pass it on to Rudra to introduce our pravachan and what we are going to be talking about today.
Well, thank you, Marissa. I'd just like to reiterate what she said. It is all of our first time doing this, not just some of us. So please forgive any mistakes we may make. We're not experienced in this, but we hope to learn, and this is a great learning opportunity for us. So thank you again for the opportunity, Guruji. Before we start our pravachan, I'd just like to invite Suri to sing a bhajan, a quick bhajan for us.
As she's getting set up, I would just also like to say that it looks like it's the four of us up here, but it's actually a collection of all of our efforts that are put in today to make this work. So thank you.
Yes, and you will be hearing from more than just the four of us. You will be hearing some translations from everybody who helped, who came to the practice, and everybody who helped make this a possibility. We'd like to thank you all too for showing up today.
काहे सुतर बाहो मनवा जपने सुतर
typically, we'll start with Varananam, and then we will head into some of the Ramayan Sumiran, and then I'll introduce the Katha. Thank you.
Varananam Rath Sanghanam Rasanam Chandrasamapi Mangalanam Chakartaro Vandevani Vinayako Vandevani Vinayako जो सुमिरत सिद्धि हो गणनायक करिवर बदन करौ अनुग्रह सो बुद्धि राशि शुभ गुण सदना नीर सरोरुषा
Hanumanji has just leapt across the sea to Lanka, where Shri Ram has sent him in search of Sita Ma. We see him exploring the palace in the guise of a fly, when suddenly he spots something that catches his eye.
राम युद्ध अनकीत गृह शोभ बरनि न जाय ओ रामा शोभ बरनि न जाय नव तुलसी वृंदा करे देखि हर्ष कबीराय सियावर रामचंद्र की जय उमापति महादेव की जय पवन सुत हनुमान की जय सियावर रामचंद्र की जय शरण।
We'll have the English version by Vedant.
Emblazoned with Rama's weapon, the mansion was beautiful beyond words. The monkey chief rejoiced to see clusters of fresh tulsi plants there.
We'll now have Vedant read the meaning of the Chaupai in English.
Lanka is the abode of a gang of demons. How comes the home of a pious man here? While the monkey chief was thus reasoning with himself, Vibhishana, Rowan's youngest brother awoke.
Thank you, Veda. So in these verses, the setting describes what Hanumanji has just found. He has just entered Lanka. Not Ayodhya, not a land filled with saints and sages. He's entered Lanka. As the Ramayan describes, Lanka is the abode of a gang of demons. Everywhere where Hanuman sees, it's greed and pride and violence and adharma. Everything about Lanka reflects the character of its leader. But then he sees something that catches his attention. He sees a mandir. It describes a mansion, a beautiful mandir and a place of worship. He naturally wonders, who does this belong to? Whose tulsi plant is this? How can this be? In this land of unrighteousness, we have a beautiful mandir dedicated to the Lord. Because soon Hanuman learns that this mandir belongs to none other than Ravan's own younger brother, Vibhishana. And Tulsidas tells us that Hanumanji's heart fills with joy. As he enters this unrighteous nature, he finds this beautiful place and his heart immediately fills with joy. Mind you, this is just the description of the setting. No one has interacted with each other, no one has talked, and he is already filled with such joy. So this poses the question to us that these verses ask us, it's how was Vibhishana able to stay true to his values and what he believes in the world that he lives in, but that does not reflect them at all. So Tulsidas gives us these answers in the form of Vibhishan as we continue.
Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Rama. Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Rama. Ram Ram Tehi Sumirat Kiha. Hridaya Harash Kapi Sajan Shiha. Ei Sarhadi Kari Ho Pajichani.
Translations.
He began to repeat Rama's name in prayers, and Hanuman was overjoyed to recognize a true believer. I shall make acquaintances with him at all events, he thought, for one's cause would never suffer at the hands of a good man.
Having thus resolved, he took the form of a Brahmin and accosted Vibhisha. As soon as he heard Hanuman's words, he arose and came to him, making obeisance. He asked after his well-being and said, "Tell me all about yourself, O Brahmin."
Now, I'm asking you all to, you see, these two young people are making their official debut. They've never done any of this. These have had some opportunity to do this before, so give them a round of applause, please.
Thank you, guys. So growing up, we always hear the saying, show me your friends and I'll show you your future. Show me your company and I'll show you who you are. And there's a lot of truth to that. The people you hang around with influence. Positive people influence you positively and vice versa. But life isn't always that simple. Sometimes we find ourselves in situations where we don't have control over who we surround ourselves with. We go to work, we go to school, and we're there for long hours of the day, and we don't always get to choose always who we hang out with and who we talk to every day and who we interact with. Now, even your own family, like Vibhishana, was stuck in this place where he couldn't be himself, and he was stuck in this place where he had to kind of hide who himself was around his own family. Yet somehow he never became like them. And that's why Hanuman rejoices even before they've even spoken. Vibhishana has lived in Ayodhya, surrounded by saints. His devotion certainly wouldn't be as surprising, but he lived in Lanka. And this shows just how strong Vibhishana's mind is and how it takes incredible strength to be this type of person. So maybe the lesson is only surround yourself with good people. We always hear only make friends with good people, only be surrounded by good people. But maybe the lesson is to learn how to be true to yourself and true to your values no matter where you are, no matter what situation you end up in, and no matter where you find yourself. Because we don't always have control over that. So the question is, can I remain true to my values regardless who is around me? And that next verse gives us the answer. As soon as Vibhishana wakes up, the verse tells us he begins chanting. There's nothing in between. As soon as he wakes up, the next verse says he begins chanting Rama Rama. This small detail tells us a lot. His first thoughts as soon as he wakes up, it's not frustration, it's not worry, it's not what do I have to do in the morning, what am I taking for lunch, and where do I have to clean, what am I wearing for work? It's not little things like that. His first thought in the morning is positive. It's Ram, it's the Lord. And through this, the author is telling us quietly just how strong Vibhishana's mindset is. He is able to have total control and pure thoughts as soon as he gets up. I'm sure many of us are guilty of this, where as soon as we wake up, it's, what do I have to cook? What do I have to clean? And we don't always wake up and think, oh, I'm so thankful for this day. So perhaps Tulsidas wasn't just telling us what his morning routine was, but he was showing just how strong his mind is. And modern research today continues to affirm this idea. What's fascinating is that it's true that through repeated thoughts, it strengthens the pathways of our brain. And our brain has naturally evolved to be able to sense danger and be able to sense when something is wrong and what is negative and what we have to protect ourselves from. So it takes a conscious effort to be able to think positively. It takes a strong-minded person to be able to think positively, such as Vibhishana. It's true that the more we think negative, the more it's easier for our brains to think that way. An analogy would be, who here has social media or TikTok? Raise your hand. Panditji's not raising his hand. He always asks us questions, so we're going to ask him questions today. So we all use Instagram or TikTok and Facebook, and I'm sure you've realized that the more you scroll and the more the videos you interact with the most, the videos, if you're into cooking videos, the more cooking videos you will see, right? And for example, my mom sent me a video the other day, and it said, 10 reasons why your parents are the best. And it's because she believes she is the best. And they are the best. So it's the same thing with your mind. The more you think negatively or the more you think positively, the more you will see positive in the world. and the more you would recognize positive, and the more you will experience positive. So Vibhishana spent his life not letting his mind succumb to the negativity around him. It took him 10 times more conscious effort to think positive, although he lived in this unrighteous land. And that's why Tulsidas tells us that the very first words out of his mouth in the morning are Ram. There is another lesson hidden in these verses that I love, and it's when Hanumanji presents himself, disguises as a Brahman. Vibhishana immediately recognizes something divine. He says, "Tell me about yourself, O Brahman." So he lives in this world filled with demons and asuras, and his first thought doesn't think, who is this stranger, or can I trust him? Instead, his heart immediately recognized the Lord inside of Hanuman and of this Brahman. And I think today we're often the opposite, and we're very quick to judge people and to look at their differences before we look for the God within them. And sometimes we get so focused on differences and we forget that every single person carries a spark of the divine within them. And Vibhishana reminds us to look for that first. This actually reminds me of something that my dad told me when I was very young, and it stuck to me ever since then, and it reminds me to think this way in every conversation that I have. I was very young, and I came home from school, and I was telling my parents about this individual in my class who had made a change in her appearance that I thought was a little odd. And I was telling them about it, and my dad heard me out, and he said, "Yes, don't go put a green streak in your hair, but just imagine how boring the world would be if everybody dressed the same, if everybody looked the same, if everybody had the same style." And he said that hairdresser would be out of business. And I think it presents a very strong message that we naturally, and it's naturally in our brains, we do this. We look for the differences and we look for things to protect us. But it takes a conscious effort to think in a positive way. And I went back to school the next day, and I remember this, and I realized that that girl had a confidence that I did not have. I looked past her looks and I looked past her appearance, and I said, wow, she has such a beautiful character. So I think that's why these verses are so powerful. They present us these two teachings. Hanuman entered Lanka, and he expected to only find darkness, and instead he found light, and he found righteousness, and he found a friend. And I feel like many times we spend so much energy trying to decide who's good and who's bad, and who's right and who's wrong. But our job isn't to decide that. Our job is to strengthen our own character and to practice good karma and sing the name of Shri Ram as soon as we wake up. And to become the kind of person like Vibhishana who looks for light everywhere they go. Because in the end, Vibhishana did live in Lanka, but Lanka did not live inside of him. So I pass it on to Asta to continue on to the next verse.
Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Rama Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Rama Tumata sahana bahu koi Mor hridaya preeti ati hoi Ki tum ramo din anuragi Arahu mohi Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai
I would like to invite Eon to read the English translation.
Are you one of Hari's own servants? For the sight of you has filled my heart with exceeding affection for you. Or are you Rama himself, a loving friend of the poor, come to make me greatly blessed?
Thank you, Eon. So, Sitaram, everyone. Let's give a clap for Eon. Okay. So, the following verses are one of my personal favorite moments that happen in the Ramcharitmanas, and I feel like the moment that happens is very deep and meaningful. It's not between Lord Hanuman or Lord Ram, but it's in fact between Vibhishan and Hanumanji. And like Marissa said, Vibhishan is a very, he has only space for Ram, and he is a very big bhakt of Prabhu Ram. So in this moment, two devotees, Lord Hanuman and Vibhishan, they live completely different lives. As you can imagine, Vibhishan is surrounded by his brother. He's like the king of Lanka and all these demons that are around him. And Hanuman, he is on the other side and he's with Prabhu Ram at all times. But yet the moment that they meet, they form the most magical bond and they feel like they have this strong connection within 2 minutes. So I'd like to say how that's kind of similar to satsang. Sometimes you meet someone and within 5 minutes you bond with them. I'm sure some of us have clicked with some people in school or in different places like work, and you feel like, oh, you've known them like your whole life, or I feel like I've seen this person somewhere because of how instantly you guys have clicked. And that kind of shows how Vibhishan also, he recognized Hanumanji right away, and he recognized him because of devotion. So in verse 1, Vibhishan asks Hanuman, "Are you one of Hari's devotees, or are you Lord Rama himself who has come to bless me?" Now notice how he doesn't first ask, "Who are you? Why have you come here?" But he greets him in the most respectful way. And he says, "Why does my heart suddenly love you, and why does my heart suddenly yearn for you?" And that is because he recognizes bhakti, and devotion recognizes devotion. And Hanumanji, he's disguised as a Brahmin. So from the outside, like externally, he looks very ordinary, and you can't really tell that he's a big bhakt of Ram. And internally, you can sense that he's a great devotee. This teaches us that sometimes greatness walks quietly. You can't always see greatness walking, or you can't always sense how someone might be based on their appearance, but you can sense how they are based on their character or how their heart is. Now, nowadays, we judge people in 3 seconds. We say, oh, what phone does he have, or what car does he drive? But Vibhishan, he doesn't do that. He looks at Hanumanji's heart, and he says to himself that this person feels like Ram. And Ram, he thinks that because Hanumanji is such a big devotee of Ram, that Ram Bhagwan has felt like he is one with Hanuman and Hanuman is one with Ram. And that is because of Lord Hanuman's devotion to Ram. And when you are so devoted to Bhagwan, Bhagwan becomes one with you. So now we will move on to verse 2.
राम कथा निज नाम, ओ रामा राम कथा निज नाम। सुनत जुगल तनु पुलक मन, मगन सुमिरि गुण ग्राम। सियावर रामचंद्र की जय, उमापति महादेव की जय। पवन सुत हनुमान की जय, सियावर रामचंद्र की जय। शरणम।
I would like to invite Aryan to read the English translation for the Doha.
Then Hanuman told him his own name and Rama's whole history, and while he listened, they both thrilled with joy and lost themselves in the recollection of Rama's infinite virtues.
So now Hanuman introduces himself, but notice the order that he does so. He doesn't start with himself, he starts with the Ram Katha. He could introduce himself as the one who crossed Lanka, the one who went to go see Ma Sita, or the one who's the Almighty, but he tells the Ram Katha first. Hanumanji is so humble. He lets go of his ego and he lets go of his pride, and he only has space for Bhagwan Ram in his heart. So Hanuman's identity isn't built on ego nor his pride, but it is built on service. Hanumanji, he serves Ram whenever, wherever, whenever Ram needs him. And he basically says in other words, I don't matter, Ram is the one who matters. And that is what makes Hanumanji so humble. So when life revolves around God, our ego automatically starts becoming smaller. When you even just chant Bhagwan's name in the morning before you go to work or before you go to school, that itself shows Bhagwan that you do remember him, and automatically your day also does go better. So we think to ourselves, oh, I'll remember God like after solving all of our problems, or when I have problems, I'll remember God, right? That's something that naturally happens. We tend to go to God whenever we have a problem, but we don't remember him sometimes in our happy moments. So Vibhishan and Hanuman, they're both sitting in Lanka, and Lanka is enemy territory. That is where Ravan kidnapped Sita Ma. And there are so many demons around them. There's so many problems that still need to be solved. But yet they remember Bhagwan. And they put everything aside just to remember Ram Katha. So that's what I wanted to touch on for this doha, is that when you remember Bhagwan, all your worries start becoming smaller. And you don't have to just remember Bhagwan in difficult times. You should remember God in all of your happy moments, sad moments, difficult moments, because that's what helps God become one with you. So moving on to the next verse.
Shri Ram Jai Ram, Jai Jai Rama. Shri Ram Jai Ram, Jai Jai Rama. Sunahu pavan sut rahani hamari. Jila sana jiva vichari. Tat kabahu mohi jari anatha. Kari hari kripa bharu kulanatha. तामस तनु कछु साधन नाही प्रीति अपार सरोज मन माही अब मोहि भरोसा हनुमंता बिनु हरि कृपा बिनहि नहीं सकता श्री राम जय राम जय जय रामा श्री राम जय राम जय जय रामा जय प्रभु रामा जय सिया रामा.
Now, I'd like to invite Drew to read the English translation.
Listen, O son of the wind, said Vibhishan. I live here like the wretched tongue between the teeth. Will the Lord of the solar race, my friend, ever have mercy on me as one who is unprotected?
And Rudra to read the following verse, the English translation.
My body is tamasic, under the spell of the mode of ignorance and covered by darkness, and I know no means of realizing God, nor does my heart cherish any devotion to the Lord's lotus feet. But now, O Hanuman, I am confident that the Lord has been gracious to me, for without Hari's favor there is no meeting with the saintly.
Thank you, Driven Rudra. So, for the next Chopai, after experiencing the divine Ram Katha that Vibhishan heard from Lord Hanuman, Vibhishan now says, "Listen, O son of the wind, I live here like the tongue surrounded by the teeth." So think about the symbolism that is used. Think about the tongue. A tongue is soft, teeth are hard, and there's 32 teeth, and a tongue is surrounded by 32 teeth. So Vibhishan uses this to compare his situation. He is the tongue, and all of the demons and the asuras that are surrounding him are all the teeth. So I don't know about everybody else, but sometimes when I eat food too quickly and I like the food that my mom makes, sometimes I bite my own tongue. So I'm sure that does happen now and then. But that's what I wanted to touch on, is that even though sometimes the teeth bite on the tongue remains and it still survives. So likewise, Vibhishan, so many asuras are surrounding him, but he still stands by his values and he still stands by his morals. And even though he chants Bhagwan's name in secret, he still does that and he still knows what his own values are. So, like Marissa said, sometimes, if you think negatively all the time, then you become negative. But if you think positively, then you become more positive. So being surrounded by negativity does not mean that you have to become negative or you have to, be forced into that negativity. But you have to also remember that sometimes things might happen for a reason. So if you become positive in your day-to-day lives, then that positivity you carry within yourself. There's a saying that goes, "The lotus grows in muddy water." And that's beautiful because the lotus is something that is very beautiful, even though it grows in muddy water. And that just shows that even if you're surrounded by things that don't really align with your values, you can still stand by what you believe in. So sometimes we think that, I've made too many mistakes, or I live in a bad environment, I'm not good enough. Will Bhagwan ever accept me? And Vibhishan's final question was also, will Lord Rama ever show mercy to someone as helpless as me? So look at Vibhishan. He's in Lanka, there's demons surrounding him. Ravan is his own brother who kidnapped Ma Sita. You'd think Bhagwan Ram would hate Vibhishan by association. So that's Vibhishan's question, is that, will Bhagwan Ram ever accept someone like me? So before we see what Hanuman says to Vibhishan, which Rudra will talk more about, I want us to take away some lessons, and I want us to pray today that, O Lord, make us like Vibhishan, pure even in difficult surroundings and difficult times. Make us like Lord Hanuman, even when he is humble with all of his greatest achievements. And may every meeting with another devotee increase our love for you. Siyapati Ramachandra Bhagwan ki jai.
Thank you, Asta. So, moving on to the next verse, we look at Vibhishan's internal struggle. So Vibhishan speaks of himself as a victim of his surroundings. Tamasatanu kachu sadhananahi. This body is of tamasic nature and possesses no means of spiritual practice. Now, anyone who comes to Ram Mandir will have heard that Guruji say that modern day psychology refers to the three gunas as the id, the ego, and the superego, tamogun, rajogun, or satogun. So Vibhishan believes that by living among these asuras, his own body has become tamasic in nature, just by surrounding himself. Now, he's surrounded by tamasic and rajasic influences, and he says, I know no means of realizing God, nor does my heart cherish any devotion to the Lord's lotus feet. Now, why would a devout worshipper of Bhagwan Shri Ram speak like this about himself? Does anybody have any clue? Any idea? Bueller? Okay. Well, before I answer this question, I'd like to recite a verse from the Bhavani Ashtakam composed by Sri Adi Shankaracharya. Kukarni kusangi kubuddhi kudasa kulacharahina kudacharalina kudrishti kuvakya prabandha sadaham gatisthvam tvameka bhavani gatisthvam tvameka bhavani gatisthvam tvameka bhavani. I'd like to read a little translation of what that meant. I performed bad deeds, associated with bad company, cherished bad thoughts, and have been a bad servant. I did not perform my traditional duties, deeply engaged in bad conducts. My eyes saw with bad intentions, tongue always spoke bad words. You are my refuge. You alone are my refuge, O Mother Bhavani. So, Sri Adi Shankaracharya and Vibhishan, you can tie a little bit of them together, their mindset. You see both of them who think so negatively of themselves. They see themselves almost as unworthy of Bhagwan. And yet, they still both find refuge at his feet, well, or at her feet, in Sri Adi Shankaracharya's case. So to answer that question about why Vibhishan would speak so about himself, the answer would be his humility. His standards of himself are so high, which is why he feels that he falls short of being a proper servant to the Lord. His constant exposure to adharmic acts has lowered his own opinion of himself. And like I said, he mentions the Lord's lotus feet. Now, I don't know about everybody else, but when I picture somebody prostrating at the feet of Bhagwan, my first thought that comes to mind is surrender. And we've seen plenty of acts of people surrendering to Bhagwan when they're in not just the Ramayana, but in the Mahabharata. Draupadi puts both her hands in the air and surrenders to Sri Krishna. Hanumanji, there's plenty of examples of people surrendering to Bhagwan. And Vibhishan does not believe he has fully surrendered to Bhagwan. Back to his internal conflict. If you look at Vibhishan, look at who he's surrounded by, look at who his brother is. His brother is Ravan, the very evil that Bhagwan Sri Vishnu has incarnated just to destroy for that sole purpose. And yet Vibhishan, a pure devotee, a pure bhakt of Shri Ram, is there and he is helping Ravan as his minister because that's his duty as his brother. Vibhishan is torn between his duty as his brother, his duty to serve his brother Ravan and to be a bhakt of Shri Ram. And although he's righteous himself, he lives in a place of adharma and serves a king who is adharmic. Despite this, Vibhishan continues living according to his dharma. And that's something you can take from that is integrity, right? Now, a big thing that I've talked about with my parents have had many talks over the years, you know, they'll tell you I did not make raising me easy. And it was not an easy job, right? Gave them plenty of trouble. And one repeating message that they always have told me, good times or bad, integrity is doing the right thing even when no one is watching. That doesn't mean, now, anybody here who's like in Gen Z, yeah, I'm sure you know the word performative, right? So essentially what we are saying in Gen Z terms is that we don't want to be a performative dharmic, right? We want to make sure that we're not just LARPing that anyways, sorry. We want to make sure that we are following our dharma, following our values that we were raised with, the values that we believe in. We want to make sure we're following that no matter whether anybody is watching. Now, as mentioned earlier, there's a mandir in Shri Ram's name inside the Lanka fort, and he performs puja every day there to Shri Ram. Now, this was mentioned earlier by Vedan. he has not let his surroundings dictate his character. And I think that we should all strive to be like that. And here's something we can learn from Vibhishan's predicament. How do we think about ourselves? And, you know, I think I've spoken to a lot of people, and anybody who knows me knows that I'm a very outgoing person, right? Now I've spoken to a lot of people my age, maybe a little bit, couple years younger, you know, and some people bring up self-esteem issues. The most common topic I've heard of is self-esteem issues, right? A lot of people, they have issues with, you know, they are not sure what their path in life is. They feel lost, right? They're not sure that they're holding themselves to a high enough standard. They're not meeting their parents' standards. They're not meeting their friends' standards. Oh, I've been a bad friend. I've been a bad son. I've been a bad daughter, right? But I think oftentimes, especially in this day and age, we're way too hard on ourselves compared to other people. Other people do not look at us with the same standard that we view ourselves, right? And you can see, like, seeing everyone's social media lives and how they live, it's easy to forget that we're only seeing a fraction of their life, right? It's easy to forget that we're only seeing the good, picture-perfect movie parts of their life. And we don't see the struggles or the challenges that each individual faces behind that screen. And once we start to compare our lives with our lives that have struggle with the picture-perfect social media life of somebody else, we start to be hard on ourselves more than we should, right? And Vibhishan, he is hard on himself too. He doesn't see himself as worthy of Bhagwan. He considers himself not fully surrendered. Now keep that in mind as we move on with our katha.
Shri Ram Jai Ram, Jai Jai Rama. Shri Ram Jai Ram, Jai Jai Rama. Jo Raghubir anugrah कीना, तो तुम सुमति दीना. सुनहु विभीषण प्रभु कई रीति, करहि सदा से अंग पर प्रीति. कहूँ कावन मैं मकुलीना, कपि चंचल सब ही विदीना. प्रतले जो नाम हमारा, तेहि दिन तहि न मिले हमारा. श्री राम जय राम, जय जय रामा. श्री राम जय राम, जय जय रामा. जय प्रभु रामा, जय सिया रामा.
I'd like to invite Jaden to read the English translation of the next Chaupai.
It is only because Raghunath has been kind to me that you of your own accord have revealed yourself to me. Listen, Vibhishan, said Hanuman, the Lord is ever affectionate to his servants, for such is his wont.
And thank you, Jaden. Now Asta for the next one.
Tell me, what superior birth can I claim, a frivolous monkey, of no merit whatever? Why anyone who mentions our name in the early morning is sure to go fasting the rest of the day?
So, staying on the topic of integrity, if we continue to live our lives like Vibhishan, with integrity, what will happen to our lives? That's a question I hope to answer. So this is what we learned in this Chaupai. Jo Raghubira anugraha kinha, tau tum mohi darasu hati dina. It is only because Raghunath has been kind to me that you of your own accord have revealed yourself to me, says Vibhishan. Now you'll notice something about what Vibhishan says. He doesn't say, wow, I'm lucky. Or he doesn't say, wow, what a coincidence that Hanuman just happened to drop into Lanka. You know, he instantly attributes this good luck his good luck of his own of meeting Hanumanji, the first servant, the Hanumanji, the best friend of the Lord, right? He attributes that to the grace of Shri Ram, right? He realizes Hanumanji is standing before me, and Shri Ram must know about me, for this must be part of his plan. And he has that faith in his Prabhu. He has that faith in Shri Ram that this must be part of his plan. And now we can see the result of Vibhishan living a dharmic life. Before Vibhishan is able to meet Shri Ram sends his greatest friend, Hanumanji, his most trusted servant, to meet him. And this, something I thought of is that if you take one step towards Bhagwan, Bhagwan will take a step in your direction as well. Next in the Chaupai, it says, Sunahu Vibhishana Prabhu kai riti, karahi sada sevak parapriti. Listen, Vibhishan, said Hanuman. The Lord is ever affectionate to his servants, for such is his want. Hanumanji states to Vibhishan that he is not the only one who is treated like this, with such care. And with this statement, that the Lord is affectionate to his servants, he removes that focus, if you look at it. He takes that focus away from Vibhishan, away from his unworthiness, away from his feelings of, his feelings of being unworthy, and he shifts that onto Sri Ram's character, right? Instead of allowing Vibhishan to think that he's special, he's saying that this is just simply who Prabhu Ram is, right? And maybe some of us do think like Vibhishan, kind of like Asta and Marissa said, oh, once I'm less busy, I'll make time for Bhagwan. I'll start praying when I become a better person. I'll hit the gym tomorrow, or tomorrow I'll make that recipe that I saved that's healthy. I'll start eating healthy tomorrow. I'll cut out sugar. So Hanumanji's words tell us that they tell us that Bhagwan loves you anyways. Whether you consider yourself worthy or whether you consider yourself unworthy, it doesn't matter to him because he loves you anyways. Now, in our own lives, we must look for the Hanumanji. I'm a big fan of metaphors. My mom is the Balvihar kindergarten teacher, and she teaches with a lot of metaphors, and sometimes she runs them by me. And, her favorite metaphor is that this is our superhero of the month, right? Our Devta, our Devi, it's our superhero of the month. They're like superheroes, right? So we must look for that superhero, that Hanumanji in our lives, that Sri Ram sends for us. It could be anybody. Sometimes it's people you don't expect, but it could be anyone. Someone who gives us unprompted advice. Somebody like a parent, a coach, a mentor, or like a teacher, a guruji, or even a friend, or sometimes a brother. But we must recognize that those same values, and we must keep them in our lives. Those same people, the people that add value to our lives, we must keep them in our lives. And with that, Bhagwan may be much closer than you think. So, just to wrap up a little bit, there are two journeys happening in Sundarkand. This is before Vibhishan goes to meet Sita Ma, and he's trying to find, this is before Hanumanji finds Sita Ma, and Vibhishan is trying to find Sri Ram. One is making their way into Lanka, and the other one is making their way out. So, at that very same time, Sri Ram is searching for Vibhishan through Hanuman, and that's the beauty of bhakti, right? We often think that, I need to find God, right? I need to reconnect with God. And, once again, another popular Guruji saying is that our life is not about reconnecting with God, but it's about staying connected to God along the way, right? But Sundarkand, specifically this katha, teaches us something, that while we are searching for Bhagwan, Bhagwan is also searching for us. And sometimes it's not in the way that you would expect. So as long as we keep living with those values and stay true to our dharma, right, we can trust that Bhagwan is making his way towards us and sending us a Hanumanji along the way to help us out and to guide us. So with that, I'd like to pass it over to Dhruv.
Namaste, Sitaram, everybody. As Rudra mentioned before, Hanumanji and Vibhishan were constantly bonding over their experiences with Sri Ram's grace. In fact, one of the first examples that I can think of is actually from Pandit Ravi's Katha that he mentioned on the first day of this 26th the 26th Yag, was their first meeting in Kishkinda Kand. In particular, when Hanumanji was disguised once again as a Brahmin and met Sri Ram near the Rishimukh mountain. Sri Ram was there, of course, to find Sugriv, while Hanumanji was there to investigate the reasoning for Sri Ram being there. Of course, Sri Ram talked to him with such warm words, such nice and sweet words, even in this investigative manner from Hanumanji, and still gave him a warm embrace at the end. Of course, this is one of the biggest and most popular examples of Sri Ram's grace throughout the Ramcharitmanas. Vibhishan, on the other hand, believes that it is through Sri Ram's grace that he is fortunate enough to have met Hanumanji on this day here in Lanka, someone who he considers to be a saintly or a divine person or an extension of Sri Ram himself. Hanumanji further exemplifies his point about Sri Ram's grace despite being a Vana. He says that even though he's a monkey as a Vana, that Sri Ram still treats him the same way, the same love and respect that he gives humans or any other being. As we've seen throughout the Ramayana, he treats Jatayu with so much respect, even on his deathbed, as his wings have cut off after he's trying to save Mother Sita. Sri Ram has shown many examples throughout the Ramcharitmanas of giving respect and love to everybody, regardless of animal status or whether a human or whatever else. He goes as far as to buy into a long-time superstition that is mentioned. He says that even though he is born as a monkey, people believe at that time that those who are born as a monkey, they'll have to fast for the rest of the day as no food will come across their path. He says this in the end of the Chaupai, but he strongly believes, like we all should, that in the eyes of Bhagwan, we are all equal, which is very true. As we all receive love from him, regardless of any divisions, any arbitrary divisions that we may have, which is something that we kind of see missing today. We always see different forms of discrimination, whether it be racism, sexism, every other kind of ism, right? That's something that we see today and is something that we're missing. And Hanumanji, without directly stating it, has made it clear that Sri Ram treats all his devotees with equal love and respect, thus putting to bed the whole feeling from Vibhishan that he is not worthy of being a devotee. I would like to ask Marissa to please read the translation for this doha.
So utterly wretched am I. But listen, friend, even to me Rama has shown favor, and his eyes filled with tears as he recalled the Lord's virtues.
As my brother mentioned before, we can see in this katha that Vibhishan has shown humility throughout. But that's not the only person who has shown humility in this katha. That's visible for both the characters, including Hanumanji as well. He has mentioned that Vibhishan doesn't see himself as worthy of being a bhakt of Sri Ram. But in this case, Hanumanji also feels that to an extent, he doesn't feel worthy of that himself. As mentioned before, he feels that he's just merely a Vana. He doesn't know why Prabhu Ram has shown him the respect and love that he has. He believes that he doesn't deserve that sentiment because he doesn't have the status of being a human. He's different from the rest of the people who he's seen being treated well from Shri Ram in the Ramcharitmanas. But the truth is that Shri Ram treats us all with the same love and respect that he has shown to everyone that has been throughout the Ramcharitmanas, whether it be Hanumanji, Vibhishan, Shabari, or Ahalya, and all the other devotees. He provides us with the body that we all have, Bhagwan that is, and he has given us the tools to be able to live our lives in such a way that we can do with it as we see fit. He's given us to do the freedom with what we please, to do whatever we would like. He provides us with the air and oxygen in our lungs, water for us to drink, and all of which mean that we should also be thankful to Bhagwan, just as Hanumanji and Vibhishan are to him as well. Because if it were not without Bhagwan, without his grace, our life would not be possible. There's a bhajan that speaks to this very well. I'll only sing a few lines. I'm sure that many people know it, so if you could please join along, that would be great. मेरा आपकी कृपा से सब काम हो रहा है मेरा आपकी कृपा से सब काम हो रहा है करते हो तुम कन्हैया मेरा नाम हो रहा करते हो तुम कन्हैया मेरा नाम हो रहा है मेरा आपकी कृपा से सब काम हो रहा है मेरा आपकी कृपा से सब काम हो रहा The poet says, by your grace, all my work is progressing. Mera aapki kripa se sab kaam ho raha hai. It is through the grace of Bhagwan that we are allowed to live every day. As I've mentioned before, he provides us with the air and oxygen in our lungs. He provides us with the water to drink and all that we should be thankful for in the life. He also says, you are truly the one who does, but I am getting the name. Karte ho tum kanhaiya, mera naam ho raha hai. We see something similar in the Bhagavad Gita in chapter 12, where Shri Krishna is trying to teach to Arjun to do the fruits, to do the actions in my name and receive the fruits of your actions in my name as well. You may get the rewards, but it's up to you to thank Bhagwan, because if not for him, you would not be able to get those rewards. This is something that we've seen from Rudra, as he mentioned, the humility, right? Hanumanji has that humility, Vibhishan has that humility, and it's up to us to have that same humility as well and live with integrity with our dharma as well. We'd like to move on to our last chaupai for the evening. Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Rama Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Rama Janata hu as Swami Visari Yahi dikhana ho Ram Gun Gram I would like Surya to please read the English translation.
Most unblessed must they be who knowingly wander in pursuit of sense gratification, oblivious of his mercies. Thus recounting Ram's infinite excellences, he felt an ineffable calm.
In this verse, Hanumanji talks about sense gratification. But what exactly is sense gratification? We have 5 senses: sight, smell, hearing, touch, and taste. I believe that in this scenario, Hanumanji is talking about the use of our 5 senses to seek out experiences that it can only temporarily satisfy us. It only gives us a few minutes, a few seconds, a little bit of happiness before we try to go and seek out even more happiness. This could signify that he feels bad for those around him, who view sense gratification as a weakness. He says those are pitiful who goes and seeks out sense gratification. Vibhishan is drawn to worshipping Shri Ram. I believe that that is quite the opposite of sense gratification. Marissa and Asta mentioned this as well. The setting has a big part to play in this, in that Lanka is a huge example of sense gratification, with the city and the palace being filled with lavish decorations. There's gold all over the place surrounding the entire city. But yet, Vibhishan is not mesmerized in all of this. He lives a life of dharma, and he tries to advise his brother to do so. Unsuccessfully, but he still tries to advise his brother to do so. Hanumanji subtly expresses in this chaupai that it would be a pity for Vibhishan to know that sense gratification or fulfilling his material desires is wrong, but still chooses to follow his brother's path anyways. In fact, the person that this is coming from, Hanumanji, is someone who is the epitome of strength and humility, as Pandit Ravi also mentioned on Sunday, indicating that Vibhishan is receiving advice from the most capable and qualified person to be doing so. But how do we apply this to our lives? In modern society, we sometimes engage in acts that we know are wrong, but sometimes justify them to soothe our conscience. We sometimes look for small bits of happiness to kind of get us through our life, make sure that we are okay, when in reality we should be looking for the longer term happinesses. This is honestly the biggest disservice to oneself, not being strong enough to uphold the values that you might hold there, especially when you do so unknowingly. We can look at an example of this, which we can see from Gen Z. Who here has Instagram Reels? So Instagram Reels, I will admit, are quite addicting. When you're scrolling on Instagram Reels, sometimes the time can pass by really, really fast. And if you're supposed to be studying in that time, imagine an exam is coming up and you're supposed to be studying. You choose to give yourself a break. You say, I'm going to look at a few Reels, maybe a 5-minute break, look at Reels, and then go back to my work. Just as easily as you say that, the 5 minutes will pass by. Then it'll become 10 minutes, then 15 minutes. And then soon your focus shifts. You're no longer studying. Your primary focus is now scrolling Reels. This becomes an issue because at that point you shift your focus, you start to procrastinate. Trying to seek out those short-term pleasures or the short-term happinesses to give away from the long-term happinesses that you might have by seeking out Bhagwan. So in this chaupai, how does Hanumanji tell Vibhishan to be true to his values in this case? If we look at Hanumanji, he fulfills his duties and responsibilities while trying to live with integrity towards the values that he follows. Vibhishan does the same thing, and even by living in Lanka, he does that regardless of the company that he's in or the circumstances. He continues to stand strong in our dharma. He says that he dedicates all of his success in his duties to the grace of Bhagwan, even going so far as to say in the past that it is through his Shri Ram's grace that he's been able to meet Hanumanji. Marissa has also mentioned this quite clearly just now, as Vibhishan lives in the height of sense gratification and adharma. Yet, his role is as an advisor to someone who has committed many wrong deeds. He still remains true to his values and dharma, chanting Ram Ram, Ram Ram as he opens and begins his day. We can also see this later on in the Ramcharitmanas as this changes. Vibhishan finds himself at a crossroads almost, where he's advised Ravan to let go of Sita Mata and return her to Shri Ram and to apologize, giving him the chance to follow a righteous path. And yet Ravan gets infuriated and kicks him out of Lanka. This is eventually how Shri Ram begins to have Vibhishan as an ally on the path to restore righteousness. Both these bhakts of Shri Ram are clear-cut examples of living with humility and integrity, while praising Bhagwan in all of his glory, as we've seen in several instances in the past, calling his name as the reason for all of their successes. We can all do this in our lives, and we should also aim to do this with the same integrity and follow the values instilled to us by our parents, our gurus, our loved ones, in the aim of doing the right thing, even when no one is watching, or when it isn't convenient. As we look to finish our katha for this evening, I would like to finish off with a bhajan, just to chant the name of Prabhu Ram. Please everybody join in if you can. Shri Ram 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 Jai Jai Ram 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 Sita Ram 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 Raghukul Ram 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 Shri Ram 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 Jai Jai Ram 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 Sita Ram 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 Raghukul Ram 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 Shri Ram 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 Jai Jai Ram 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 Sita Ram 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 Raghukul Ram Ram Shri Ram 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 Jai Jai Ram 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 Sita Ram 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 Raghukul Ram 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 Shri Ram 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 Jai Jai Ram 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 Sita Ram 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 Raghukul Ram Ram Shri Ram 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 Jai Jai Ram 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 Sita Ram 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 Raghukul Ram Ram Shri Ram 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 Jai Jai Ram 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 Sita Ram 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 Raghukul Ram Ram Shri Ram 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 Jai Jai Ram 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 Sita Ram 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 Raghukul Ram Ram Shri Ram 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 Jai Jai Ram 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 Sita Ram 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 Raghukul Ram Ram Shri Ram 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 Jai Jai Ram 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 Sita Ram 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 Raghukul Ram 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 Shri Ram 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 Jai Jai Ram 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 Sita Ram 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 Raghukul Ram Ram Shri Ram 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 Jai Jai Ram 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 Sita Ram 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 Raghukul Ram 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 Shri Ram Jai Jai Ram Sita Ram Raghukul Ram 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 Shri Ram Jai Jai Ram Sita Ram Raghukul Ram 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 Shri Ram Jai Jai Ram Sita Ram Raghukul Ram 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 Shri Ram Jai Jai Ram Sita Ram Raghukul Ram 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 Shri Ram Ram Raghukul Ram Ram Ram, Raghukul Ram Ram Ram, Raghukul Ram Ram Ram, Raghukul Ram Ram Ram. As we look to finish our Katha for this evening, we'd like to thank all of those who mean so much to us and have allowed us to have this opportunity this evening. First of all, on behalf of the entire youth group, we'd like to thank all of our parents. All of our parents have been doing such a great job with everything, whether it is taking us to practices, bringing us to Mandir when we are young, to get us involved in the Mandir, taking us to music lessons. It's such a huge, huge help from them. And, you know, we're so grateful for everything that they've done. Secondly, we'd like to thank our Guruji and our Guru Mataji for everything that they've done to help us grow as human beings and in this spiritual realm as well. Finally, we'd like to thank the Kirtan Mandali, the organizing committee, and all the musicians who have helped us this evening and many times past. They've done such a great job, whether it is playing tabla, playing the keyboard, the harmonium. You know, they're our rock, they're always here. And you know, this Mandir would not be here without them. Special shout out goes to Krish, who actually returned from Guyana this evening.
Still made it to Mandir to play
And
tabla.
he still made it to Mandir to come and play tabla for us. He's a very vital part of the youth group, and it means so much to us that even on such a busy day that he's here to support us and be a member of the youth group with us. Finally, we'd like to thank the organizing committee. Auntie Sunita has done so much to help make us all feel welcome and, well, as little nervousness as possible in the first time that we are doing this. So thank you so much as well. With that, we'd like to hand it off to Panditji, Guruji.
Siyapati Ramachandra Bhagavan ki. Let's give these people a wonderful round of applause, please. Viewers want to recognize two young people who are here tonight. They are not a normal part of our Kirtan Mandali. And I want to recognize them and let their parents know that they're welcome. We want to see them part of the Kirtan Mandali. So this is Surya and Vedan. Give them a big hand, please. And before I go on to make commentaries about my critique of this session, very positive critique, I would like to recognize the presence of Pandit Bhuvan, who is representing his father and the Mandir, Bhavani Shankar Mandir, and ask him to say a few words.
Om Ramaya Ramabhadraya Ramachandraya Vedase Raghunathaya Nathaya Sitaya Pataye Namah. Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnu Gurur Devo Maheshwara Gurur Sakshat Parabrahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. Prem se bolo Shri Ramachandra Bhagavan ki jai. Jai Sri Ram, everyone. My humble pranam to each and every one of you. First off, I think the youth group of the Ram Mandir deserves a huge round of applause once again. It is truly a blessing to be in the presence of lots of learned pundits, devotees, and of course these youths who just off of one discussion in the Ramcharitmanas, they were able to delve deep into the meanings, and especially for your first time giving a katha, I think you all did a very wonderful job and should be very proud of yourselves. again, very happy 26th anniversary to the Mississauga Mandir, at least in this building. And for over 3 decades, as you know, I'm aware, which is long before I was born, Mississauga Mandir has been a pillar for the Hindu community. Pandit Sharmaji has been a really important guiding force in this community in bringing Sanatan Dharma, on making sure it is preserved, and making sure that the community is served, that we're serving God in the best way that we can. And yes, a round of applause to Pandit Sharmaji and the entire team at Mississauga Mandir, as well for hosting and conducting this Ramayan Yagna. I will be reading tomorrow. I will be doing Katha, so please come on out. And as well, if anyone from Bhavani Shankar Mandir is watching, I know you guys will also turn up in great numbers. But please, for the rest of the sessions as well, continues to support Ram Mandir. And even after this, throughout the entire year, they're involving so much of the youths. They're involving the seniors. This is the first time I've seen, at least for me, the youths, like the entire youth group, read a full night of Katha for like over an hour. So again, you all should be very proud of yourselves, and may Bhagavan always bless you. Thank you.
Dhanyavad. When we started this venture, it was a year ago, or just the beginning of this year, I was in Guyana, and I met with a young Pandit in Guyana who we had hoped to be present here, but due to his academic studies, he could not make it. We committed ourselves that this year, in July, we will celebrate Ram Mandir anniversary in a different way. In a sense, instead of having Bhagavad Katha, we'll have Ramayan Katha, and then we'll have these different Pandits present, and different members of the group. It was my hope that our Ramayan Mandali, which you've heard only the youth portion of it, but I want you to know that there is a mature portion of this Mandali that are all grown-ups, and the young kids also. Give them a big hand, please. That they will all present, but then Rudra and Dhruv and his associates in the youth committee approached me and says, Panditji, you know, we would like to do one night. And I said, why not? That's good. And the rest of it is history. They went to work, and you all know the results of their good work. And I think it's important to recognize that if you're attending this Katha, on the 2 previous nights, Pandit Sunil presented from Sundarkand, and Banan Shivi presented from Sundarkand, and tonight our Kirtan Mandali youths are presenting from Sundarkand. But each night there was a different focus. Sunil focused on Hanumanji, Banan Shivi focused on Mother Sita, and tonight you focus on Vibhishan. Did you all plan it this way? It just happened. Give them a round of applause, please. I am actually very, very pleased and must say pleasantly surprised that they were listening to me when they come to Mandir, because I can hear quite a few of my statements being echoed and re-echoed. But this is not because of that. I think their dedication and their commitment, the work they put into rehearsing together, practicing together, going through their notes, is an indication of their desire to do this. Although there is fear in their minds, but like they themselves said, you know, when you're fair in your mind, it doesn't mean you're not doing the right thing. Continue and proceed. And we are all very proud of them, because what is there to say more, that we are so proud that we hope that one day you will all not only influence in Ram Mandir, you will continue to do what we Ram Mandir do is export talent. Since we are living on Export Boulevard, we make them talented and we export them to other Mandirs. So Bhuvan's father was exported to Bhavani Shankar, and so on, many of the other Pandits. And some of them may stay, you never know, but nevertheless, where the male Pandits are proceeding to be exported, the female Pandits are sticking down. And we're hoping that we'll see that in this Mandir we recognize male and female equally. Let's give them all a big hand, please. And 2 special mentions, other than 3 special mentions. My grandson, Krishi, give him a big hand, please. You did. Rishi has also committed that he will take the pathway of Purvat Karma, that he will learn to become a Pandit. He's already an excellent tabla player, so we are looking towards his future in that. And I want to say to Jaden and Aryan, Aryan is not the person that envisioned picturing sitting here and singing, and Jaden, and of course Ian is already a very talented singer. Give them a big hand, please. So that Dhruv and Rudra, I don't know who did the motivation and tied these boys in, but I think they did a great job. Because that's true. They come to Mandir, they hang out, but now they're engaged. And then to these two young ladies, some special hello to them. Now, both of them are very talented in their own way. Asta is a complete, maybe in dancing, Katha, Bharatnatyam, already graduated. Give her a big hand. She is taking music lessons from Nirvana. Marissa is also a very accomplished musician, taking music from Nirvana and others. And the two of them today, in their eloquence in presenting Katha, I think if you listen carefully to the way they have chosen their words and how well it's presented, it shows the depth of their knowledge and their devotion to the subject matter. Give them a big hand. All together, but this is the critique you're getting right now, okay, right? It's always positive. The positive critique that they did something that really embellishes the concept of Mandir. Now let me ask our working teams, what is the motto of Mandir, the two objectives of Mandir? What is it we supposed to do? Two things?
Engage and empower.
And what do we provide in the Mandir? What are the two things we provide? Say it loudly, please.
Program and services.
Programs and services. Do things that people like, and when they come, treat them like God. But also, there is one thing that is unwritten rule. We are not an exclusive group. We're an inclusive group. And you see that very much today. These two young people who are not here regularly were totally included. These two young people who are here are all in the Vana's class, they're included. And everyone is included. Ram Mandir promotes inclusivity rather than exclusivity. It's not only Pandit Sharma reading, or Pandit Sharma's children reading, but everybody's children reading, and everybody's children gaining, and everybody's children having value. So give the Ram Mandir committee a great round of applause.
If I could interrupt for 1 second.
I'm sorry. Yes.
If I could interrupt for
Please.
1 second. Guruji talks about, the young people we have sitting on the ground. I'd like to call them out by name: Arjun, Rose, Surya, Vedan. The four of us are up here, and this is a special message for just you guys, right? The four of us are up here right now, but we hope that in the future we'll see you four up here. If you're up to it, if you want.
And I will ensure that we assure you, as long as you stick with it. Although we have all of you here youths, and you have different diverse pathways in your academic world, your professional world, the one thing must be within you, that your Dharma and Ram Mandir is two things that you give exclusive attention to as an individual, but when you work together, you work inclusively to make sure everyone feel like a family. And I'm proud of the president of the youth group. Give him a big hand, please. Because he certainly has been a motivating factor for making this inclusiveness happen. And we want to thank all of you for being here tonight. But before we conclude, our president has returned back from her vacation, Indira Sharma, so we'll ask her to say a few words. Let's give her a big hand, please. She was supposed to be back yesterday, but not due to her fault. Caribbean Airlines decided to give her one more day holiday. Take this one, Baba.
Sitaram and Namaste, everyone, and Jai Shri Ram. As Panditji said, unfortunately, I have not been able to be here for the first 5 nights of the Yajna, but Krish and I, while we were in Guyana, we were watching the live stream, and I want to commend all of our young people. I know Panditji has said a lot already, but I think today, seeing them, choosing the topic that they chose to read about is so appropriate, because every young person, whether they're Hindu, Sikh, Christian, Muslim, battles with that battle on a daily basis, trying to be true to who they are, even though they're surrounded by peers and colleagues and friends who may disagree with them and may try to sway them in different directions. So that's a battle that every single person, every young person in this room deals with on the basis on a daily basis. And the fact that our young people were able to read the Ramayana, which is a very old scripture, which usually is read to us by relatively old people. And today, to listen to the young voices telling you their version, their perception, their view on what those stories are. We all know the stories of Vibhishan. We've heard it many, many times. But today you heard their perception, their views, in a very modern day, relevant way that they can relate to. So even though, and I want to really commend our Panditji, our spiritual leader, and the hardworking team of Ram Mandir for doing our yajna this way, because traditionally we could have had one Pandit come and sit and we could listen to the words and wisdom, and we would appreciate it. But to have several young Pandits and I would say young Hindu leaders, this is what I would call our young people, young Hindu leaders, different perspectives on different days, and maybe our older generation may not realize the value of what's happening here. But here we have young people who probably may not have ever read the Ramayana on their own, but took a minute to delve into it and present it. And there is so much more inspiration for us to follow because we know that this is just the beginning. So I'm so proud of our Ram Mandir community, our leaders, who have the foresight to see that when we look around this room, we see all the seniors sitting in the back here. Hopefully our Mandir will be filled with a lot of young people through the generations to come. And I believe that Ram Mandir always thinks out of the box. We always think out of the box, and that's because of our guidance of Panditji. And today, we have the opportunity to hopefully guide and provide our young people with an opportunity that they may not have gotten in any other Mandir, but they did have it in Ram Mandir. So thank you so much to our young people. And to our hardworking community, the Ram Mandir committee, and to Sunita, and all the aunties, and of course our Kirtan Mandali, our youths. Our Ram Mandir also has many volunteers who are working behind the scene to help prepare meals, to serve food, to clean up, to tidy up every day. And this is the summertime. A lot of people are busy with their own activities, but this yajna will continue for the next few days. So please come and join us. As Pandit Bhuvan said, he will be here tomorrow. And every single night, if you've have an opportunity to be here on any of the nights, please go back to our live stream, take a look at it, because you'll see that every night we've had a different presenter leave us with a message that we can definitely put into our own lives, a message that we can carry with us. So please do that, and please join us for the ensuing nights. And thank you so much for joining us. Jai Shri Ram.
And to have the final word will be Nirvana Sharma. And why? Nirvana is a music teacher and also very engaged in the Bal Vihar program, together with Vidya and Bhuvana and others. And most of these young people here have gone through the Bal Vihar program. I think all of them somehow or the other have been interacting with Nirvana, and then some of them in music. So I'd like to have her say a few words to them tonight.
That is true. I remember teaching all of them in the Balvir program, and I remember also begging all of them when they were done to come back to Balvihar and to help me. But nonetheless, they have all chosen to stay involved in Ram Mandir in different ways, and I just wanted to actually highlight these three. I know you usually see Asta, Marissa, and Dhruv and Nurja most of the time, and not because they're good singers too, and they are here, they chose to do that, and they are definitely showing their talent and doing amazingly well with doing that. But with Ian and Jaden and Aryan, they're doing something that is in the background and it's also very much needed. And sometimes we don't pay attention to those people. And Ian, every time I've seen him, he's either helping his dad setting up and when we have programs, helping him build something, our Hawan Kun outside, or helped build when we had to do the stop-in for our Lord Ram. He's helping with the altar and building that. And yeah, although he may be shy and I always try to encourage him, he's still doing something that is very important. And same thing with Jaden. He's been actively involved in our volunteer program and orientating, and has helped Shivi with doing that in her absence. And he's involved in the kitchen and volunteering there. And Aryan, he's part of our summer program, our summer camp program, and coordinating
He
that.
broke our glass window.
Well, he broke. Well, yes, they're still growing, but they're doing very important roles, and I hope that you know that whatever you're doing, it means a lot. And although we may be not showing you that attention, please be aware that we appreciate it. And Krishi as well, he's a talented tabla player, and sometimes tabla players feel they don't get that attention as well because everyone focuses on the singer. But the rhythm is always the most important thing as well. That's what makes the song. And Krishi, continue doing what you're doing, and all of you, I hope you continue to uphold our dharma. Paniji has done something that many mandirs hasn't done, and maybe I have or I have yet to see. And they spoke about equality, and that is what he's showing here as well. That it doesn't matter what caste you are, if you're a Brahmin or not. It doesn't matter what age you are, old or young, or if your gender as well. If you're a woman or a man, you can. If you have the devotion, if you have the desire. And I didn't realize that they had the willingness. They actually asked. Shivi and I are always voluntold. That even shows how much they are so devoted to this. It doesn't matter if you have the willingness, then you can also do it, and you are also capable. And I think definitely that is a change in our in how we are upholding our Sanatan Dharma. And I have two other students here that it came tonight. I'm sorry, I wanted to apologize to you that you didn't get to sing. But I also want to thank them, and I'm asking Drew and Roja to include them in the youth group as well. That's Arushi and Isha. Isha is also a coordinator in our in our summer camp. And all of these youths are either in university or in high school, and they're actively involved in our mandir in some way, and they take the time out of their day to do that. So we thank you, and we appreciate everything. Namaste and Jai Shri Ram.
Thank you very much. मेरे बाद सुनिए, कौन पहले बार आए हैं? Is there anyone who came to our mandir today for the first time? हाथ उठाइए. Put your hands up if you're here for the first time. Any newcomers to our mandir? No newcomers? Anyone brought prasad for sankalp that was not offered? Yes, there was one prasad. So we will offer prasad. Sharkara khand ka dhani dadi cheer britani cha aharam bhakshojam cha naivedyam prativiyata naivedyam samarpayami naivedyam samarpayami tvadiyam vasta govindam tumameva samarpe grihan sanmike bhutva prasiddhyam purushottama naivedyam samarpayami. सभी लोग बोलो कृष्णा अर्पणम. Today we want to thank our sponsors who sponsor Kwiti Boj, Purva, Prashar, and Niket Chaudhary. Give them a big hand, please. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Bolo. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. सियापति रामचंद्र भगवान की जय. once again, we thank all of you for being here tonight. We invite you to join us tomorrow night as this yajna continue. As you heard, Pandit Bhavana will be here tomorrow. And we have other Pandits all the other nights. The yajna continues until Sunday morning. And we'll be doing Sampuran on Sunday morning. Katha will start at 10 a.m. And I will be given the privilege to present Katha on that morning. The youths have decided to give me a chance also. So then I invite all of you to join us. And all the Pandits who are reading are invited officially and hope they can make it. I know some of them, like Ravi, has such busy schedule. I'm so happy to see that he can make it for the second night. Give him a big hand, please. So we look forward to seeing everyone, and invite your friends and family and neighbors, those who are visiting from other countries in the summer in Canada. Invite them to come and to sit and listen to Ram Katha with a new perspective, a youthful perspective, which is what we need in the world today. Everyone please stand. So we look at it. What's the date? Afterwards. So we look at it.
Tirati kari kartari
पीठी आरती श्री रामायण जी की रही कलि कलित सिय पीठी। ओम श्री राम जय राम जय जय राम। ओम श्री 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 राम जय जय राम। सभी लोग आरती ताली रख दीजिए। मन ध्यान करो हाथ जोड़कर। We focus our minds and clasp our hands, bow our heads. We clasp our hands in front of our chest. In our concluding prayers, we offer to the Divine Lord Rama our obeisance. Our obeisance, tan or man arpan, body and mind we offer to you, O Lord. We subjugate ourselves, our will and our being to your guidance, your instructions. You are the source of our existence and sustenance. We thank you as we pray. Om Hari Om. त्वमेव माता च पिता त्वमेव बन्धु च सखा त्वमेव विद्या द्रविणं त्वमेव सर्वं मम त्वमेव सर्वं मम देव। ॐ द्यौ शान्ति अन्तरिक्षं शान्ति पृथिवी शान्ति राप शान्ति वृक्षे शान्ति वनस्पति शान्ति विश्वदेव शान्ति ब्रह्मा शान्ति सर्वं शान्ति शान्तिरेव शान्ति शान्ति। शीश झुकाकर धरती पर प्रणाम। We bow our heads humbly. Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnu Gurur Devo Maheshwara Gurur Sakshat Param Brahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Asutoma Sadgamaya Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amritangamaya Sarve Bhavantu Sukhina Sarve Santu Niraya Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Mahakashtin Dukha Bhave Mahakashtin Dukha Bhave
बोलिए सियापति रामचंद्र भगवान की
जय।
उमापति महादेव की जय। पवन पुत्र हनुमान की जय। गणपति भगवान की जय। लक्ष्मी नारायण भगवान की जय। राधा कृष्ण भगवान की जय। अम्बे मैया की जय। धर्म की
जय हो।
अधर्म का
नाश हो।
प्राणियों में
सद्भावना हो।
विश्व का
कल्याण हो।
धरती माता की
जय हो।
भारत माता की
जय हो। ओम नमः पार्वती पते हर हर महादेव हर हर महादेव। श्री सच्चे सनातन धर्म की मन शांति 30 seconds. ओम शांति शांति शांति। ये मन का प्रसाद है। This is food for the mind. 30 seconds. It could last a lifetime. We invite everyone to take Tanka Prasad. Bhojan is prepared for everyone. And we look forward to seeing you tomorrow. And we will have bhajan kirtanam as they will continue. Who's going to sing? You all stay there.